On my wedding day, she gave me a black veil. A family tradition, she said, smiling as if it was an honor. But it felt like I was being buried, not married. And I was right. I stood there in my ivory gown, in the beautiful estate where the reception would be held, holding that veil in my hands. It was delicate, expensive, embroidered with black roses. Jason's mother, my soon-to-be mother-in-law, handed it to me like she was doing me a favor. My mother wore it on her wedding day. And her mother before her, she said, proudly. I didn't say a word. Just smiled, like I was taught to. Because it was my wedding day. Everything was supposed to be perfect. But something inside me curled up in warning. I was supposed to be happy. I was marrying the man I loved. Jason was kind, attentive, a little soft, but I thought that would change with time. He loved me. I believed that. But he loved his mother even more. I should have seen it back then, that very first morning after the wedding, when we were about to leave for our honeymoon. His phone rang. It's Mom. Her blood pressure's up. I can't leave her alone. I sat by the door with my suitcase while he rushed off to see her, leaving me behind. On day 3, I unpacked. We never went. That was the first time she won. But it definitely wasn't the last. The house was supposed to be a wedding gift. Jason's mother handed us the keys wrapped in gold ribbon, her eyes shining with something I couldn't quite read. It's in Jason's name, of course, she said lightly. But it's all yours. Well, yours together. I smiled politely. I should have asked more questions. It was a charming 2-story home in a quiet suburb, freshly painted, manicured lawn, every detail pristine. But what she gave with one hand, she clutched with the other. She had keys. And she used them. A lot. The first time, I was in a towel, fresh out of the shower. I nearly screamed when I found her in the kitchen arranging flowers. Oh, don't mind me, she said cheerfully. I thought I'd bring over some fresh lilies. They brighten the space. I told Jason. He laughed. She just wants to help. It's her way of welcoming you. Her help quickly became routine. Every week, she was there, reorganizing cabinets, criticizing my seasoning, leaving passive-aggressive notes. I moved your spices. Alphabetical is easier. You don't need so many pans, darling. Simpler is better. I fixed your laundry schedule, whites on Tuesdays. At first, I tried to be grateful. She was offering time, advice, gifts. But it didn't feel like generosity. It felt like surveillance. Once, I made chicken parmigiana for Jason, his favorite. I spent the whole afternoon perfecting it. He took one bite and smiled. This is amazing, he said. His mother, who had just happened to drop by, chimed in. Well, it's no surprise. I gave her my recipe last week. I hadn't used her recipe. But Jason nodded like it made sense. See, Mom always knows best. That night, I didn't sleep. Something was shifting, deep under the surface. She wasn't just visiting. She was claiming space. And Jason didn't seem to notice. Or worse, didn't care. By month 3, I started to feel like a guest in my own home. I tried to set boundaries, gently at first. I asked Jason if we could change the locks. He looked at me like I'd slapped him. She's my mom. Why would we lock her out? Because we live here, I said. Not her. She gave us this place. She just wants to stay connected. Connected? It felt more like she was plugged into every part of my life. She installed a new coffee maker without asking, because you always burn the old one. She replaced our shower curtain with one less tacky. She even showed up once while we were in the middle of a fight, claiming she felt something was wrong. Jason told her everything, every disagreement, every complaint I ever had. He said he needed her advice. I needed privacy. He needed his mother. I decided to take back a little space. I signed up for a local bake-off. Cooking had always been my thing, and I wanted something that was mine. I poured my heart into that competition, tested recipes for weeks, stayed up past midnight baking, tweaking, perfecting. And I won. First place. I was glowing when I got home, the ribbon in my hand, the judge's compliments echoing in my ears. Jason smiled, kissed me, said he was proud. Then she walked in. "Oh, did you use that vanilla cake recipe I gave you?" she asked, loud enough for Jason to hear. "I didn't use your recipe," I said, calmly. "I made my own." She laughed. "Well, inspiration comes from many places." Jason looked between us, clearly uncomfortable. "Let's not argue. Mom's just happy for you." But I wasn't happy. I wasn't angry either. I was invisible. When I found out I was pregnant, I cried, but not for the reasons you'd expect. I was happy, of course. I had dreamed of being a mother. But a part of me already knew, this baby wouldn't be just mine. I told Jason first. He picked me up and spun me around the kitchen, laughing, genuinely overjoyed. Then he said, "We have to tell Mom." I wanted to wait, just a little. Let it be our moment. But within an hour, she was in our living room with a bag full of prenatal vitamins, outdated parenting books, and a long list of names she had always loved. "I always knew you two would give me a granddaughter," she said. "We'll name her Claire, after my grandmother." A strong name. I blinked. "Actually, I haven't thought about names yet." "Oh, don't worry, you'll come around. Pregnancy makes you emotional." And that was the beginning of it. She came to every single appointment, even when I told her not to. Once, Jason couldn't make it to the ultrasound because of work. I thought I'd go alone, enjoy a quiet, private moment. She showed up instead. Already there, waving from the hallway like she was my +1. "You shouldn't be alone," she said. She grabbed the printed ultrasound photo from the nurse's hand before I could even touch it. I told Jason I was upset. He shrugged. "She's excited. That's a good thing." It got worse. She started rearranging the nursery without asking. Painted the walls lavender while I was out grocery shopping. Ordered furniture in her style, not mine. Told me, "The baby won't care what theme you want." One night I woke up to find her rocking an empty cradle in the dark nursery. "She'll need routine," she whispered. "I know what works." I raised Jason, didn't I? I stood there, in the doorway, feeling like a stranger in the life I was building. The final straw came during a family dinner. She raised her glass and said, "To Claire. My granddaughter. I just know she's going to be perfect." We didn't even know the gender yet. But somehow, I already knew the truth. If I didn't fight for this child now, I'd lose her, too. Our daughter, Lily, was born on a rainy Wednesday afternoon. Yes, Lily, not Claire. I wrote the name myself on the birth certificate while Jason was in the cafeteria. It was the first real decision I made without permission. And I paid for it. When Jason walked into the hospital room and saw the paperwork, his face dropped. "You didn't talk to me first." "I did. 100 times. You just weren't listening." He didn't argue. He just sat down and stared at the wall. His mother didn't speak to me for 2 days. Then she showed up with a monogrammed blanket that read Claire Marie. She smiled coldly. "Well, this is awkward." The tension in the room was thick. Even the nurses seemed to feel it. But it didn't stop there. The moment we brought Lily home, she took over, again. She said I looked tired, and insisted on doing the night feeds. I woke up once to find her bottle feeding Lily, ignoring the fact I had wanted to breastfeed. "I've done this before," she said. "You'll thank me later." I never did. I tried to talk to Jason. I tried to make him understand. I cried in front of him, holding our daughter, begging him to set boundaries. But he wouldn't. She's just helping. You're overreacting. She's undermining me, I whispered. As a mother. As your wife. She means well, he said. Why are you making me choose? I froze. Is that what this is? I asked. A choice? He didn't answer. Not directly. He looked away and said, I'm not turning my back on her. She's my mother. That was the moment something broke in me. Not a dramatic shatter, not yet, just a hairline crack down the middle. But it would spread. Because now I knew. When the time came to pick a side, he wasn't going to pick me. I found the custody papers on a Thursday. Folded neatly inside a manila envelope, tucked beneath Jason's briefcase in the hall closet, like they were waiting for me to find them. At first, I thought it was a mistake. A misunderstanding. But the words on the top of the page said it all: joint custody agreement, pre-separation consideration. I stood there, heart racing, holding evidence of a betrayal I hadn't seen coming, at least not like this. When I confronted Jason, he didn't even look surprised. She suggested it. Just, in case, he said, like we were planning a vacation, not preparing for divorce. She who? I already knew. She's just worried. She thinks you're overwhelmed. I just had a baby, I said, my voice rising. Of course I'm overwhelmed. That doesn't mean I'm incapable. He sighed like I was being dramatic. It's not like we're doing it now. It's just a precaution. No, Jason, I said quietly, shaking. It's a plan. A plan behind my back. He didn't deny it. Later that night, I overheard them talking in the kitchen. I wasn't supposed to hear, but I did. His mother's voice. She's unstable, Jason. You have to protect Lily. What if she takes the baby and runs? And Jason, whispering. I know. I'm handling it. Handling it. That's what he called this. It wasn't just about control anymore. It was about erasing me, as a mother, a wife, a human being. The next morning, I packed a bag for me and Lily and left. No drama. No shouting. Just a goodbye note and a door quietly closing. He didn't call. Not that day. Not the next. 2 days later, I got a message. Maybe this is for the best. Mom says we all need space. Space. What I needed was a husband. A partner. But what I had was a man still tied to his mother's umbilical cord. So I gave him what he wanted, all the space in the world. Starting over wasn't as romantic as people make it sound. I moved into my friend Maya's spare bedroom with Lily, a crib, and a few bags of clothes. It was tight, chaotic, and sometimes smelled like takeout and laundry detergent, but it was ours. The silence from Jason was deafening. Not a text. Not a knock on the door. Not even a, "How's Lily?" He didn't fight for us. He didn't try. He let me go like I was a mild inconvenience he'd eventually forget. Maya asked me once, late at night, while we both drank cold coffee in her kitchen. Do you miss him? I didn't know how to answer. Because I didn't miss him. I missed the life I thought we were building. What I missed had never really existed. Instead of grieving, I started building something real, for me and my daughter. I dusted off an old idea I'd shelved during pregnancy, an online support group for first-time moms. What started as a private Instagram account grew into a blog. From a blog into webinars. Then live Q&A sessions. By month 3, I had a following. By month 5, I had brand sponsors. I was making money. Real money. More than Jason ever let me contribute when we were married. You should focus on the baby, not silly projects, his mother used to say. Well, guess what? My silly project was now paying for daycare, formula, and a tiny apartment of our own. Lily had her own room. I had peace. Then one day, a podcast host I admired reached out. She'd read my blog. "We'd love to have you on," she said. "To talk about toxic in-laws and how women lose themselves in motherhood." I said yes. The episode went viral within days. One of the quotes the host pulled for Instagram said, "He didn't leave me. He left his spine somewhere between his mother's opinions and his own fears." I didn't name names. I didn't have to. But I knew Jason heard it. Because that was the week he finally called. His name lit up my phone screen like a ghost. "Jason calling." I stared at it. I didn't pick up. Not the first time. Not the second. On the third, I answered, not because I missed him, but because I needed to hear what kind of man he'd become without me. "Hey," he said softly, like we were just old friends catching up. "I saw the podcast. You really went for it." I waited. "I didn't know you were so unhappy," he added. "Unhappy?" That was the word he landed on. "I wasn't unhappy," I said. "I was erased." He went quiet. Then, the words I'd always imagined he'd say, but never like this. "I think about you. About us. I miss you." I didn't answer. "I'm not saying we jump back into anything," he continued quickly. "Just, maybe talk. Maybe I see Lily. Maybe we all get dinner." Dinner. As if we hadn't burned our entire life to ash. I agreed to meet, in public. Neutral ground. I didn't want him near our home. We sat across from each other at a cafe. He looked older somehow, not aged, just duller. Like the version of him I'd loved had faded under the weight of all his mother's control. He asked about Lily. I told him she liked dinosaurs and peanut butter and dancing in her pajamas. He smiled. "She sounds amazing." "She is." Then came the part one knew was coming, the test. "My mom's changed," he said. "She wants to be part of this. She knows she made mistakes." "She's not the only one who did," I said flatly. He looked down. "I just thought, maybe we could try again." "For Lily." I let that sit for a moment. "You didn't fight for me," I said. "You let her convince you I was unfit. You had custody papers behind my back." He didn't deny it. "I was scared," he whispered. "And she was louder than you." And there it was. It wasn't that he didn't love me. It's that he loved peace more than truth. Obedience more than partnership. Her voice more than mine. I left that cafe knowing something important. He missed me, but only the version of me who stayed quiet. And that woman was gone. A week after that cafe meeting, a package showed up at my door. No note. Just a large white box with gold trim. Inside was a pale pink dress. Lace, satin, expensive. Size 3T. Attached to the hanger was a tag. For Claire's 3rd birthday. Claire. Not Lily. I nearly laughed. It was so perfectly twisted, so her. The next day, I got a text, not from Jason, but her. I thought it would be nice if we all got together. For Lily. No tension. Just family. Just family. I was shaking. Not from fear, from anger. Because even after everything, she still believed she had some kind of stake in my daughter. That if she sent enough gifts, enough pretty distractions, she'd rewrite the story in her favor. I didn't answer. But Jason showed up that weekend, unannounced. Again. He stood on my porch holding a stuffed unicorn and a look of rehearsed sincerity. "She really wants to see Lily," he said. "Just for an afternoon." Did she remember her name this time? He winced. "Come on. She's trying." "No," I said. "She's manipulating. There's a difference. I just don't want Lily to grow up without knowing her grandmother." I stepped out onto the porch and shut the door behind me, keeping Lily safe inside. She's already growing up without a father who stood up for her mother. I think she'll be okay. He didn't argue. Just stood there, unsure of his own place in a story he thought he could rewrite. I looked at him one last time, this man I had once loved, once trusted, and realized I felt nothing. No heat. No pull. Not even resentment. He turned to leave, defeated. Then he stopped and asked, "Are you ever going to forgive me?" "I already did," I said. "But that doesn't mean you get access to what you broke." And with that, I went back inside, to my daughter, my home, my peace. She still thought she could win. But this was a different game now. One where I made the rules. 1 year later, I stood on stage in front of a room full of women, strong women, tired women, healing women. The auditorium buzzed with quiet energy as I adjusted the mic. Behind me, the screen lit up with the title of my talk. Wife. Mother. Survivor. Rebuilding after being replaced. It was the last stop on my book tour. Yes, book. What started as a blog turned into a movement, and that movement became pages full of every silent story I had ever lived through, and then some. Women shared it. Quoted it. Lived it. And they showed up for it, in droves. In the front row that night sat Maya, holding Lily on her lap, wearing matching purple dresses and plastic tiaras. Behind them, like ghosts in flesh, were Jason and his mother. I hadn't invited them. I hadn't even told them about the event. But apparently, curiosity was stronger than shame. Jason looked hollow. Not broken, just empty. Like someone still trying to solve an old equation with the wrong variables. His mother sat stiffly beside him, clutching her purse like it was a lifeline. She didn't recognize this version of me. She had spent years trying to shrink me into something she could control, polite, obedient, invisible. But now I was louder than ever. "I used to believe that strength meant keeping quiet," I said into the mic. "Not rocking the boat. Letting things slide. Being the bigger person. But strength is saying, this is not okay. It's saying, I deserve more. It's leaving, even when they say you're crazy. It's rebuilding your life from ash and calling it art." The crowd erupted in applause. Women wiped tears. A few stood. I looked directly at Lily, who clapped with her tiny hands, not fully understanding, but smiling anyway. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to prove anything. Not to Jason. Not to his mother. Not even to the world. Because I had done the one thing they never expected. I won, without them.